With the trade deadline November 1st approaching, it's time to take a look at some players that the Vikings could possibly make a move for. But first, this must be said, Minnesota has the least amount of cap space available league-wide, so unless we see any sort of news that players on the team have agreed to contract restructures, none of this matters. But first, the need on defense. You need improvement at safety, slot corner, and defensive line. I feel like you can alleviate most of these problems in-house. Josh Metellus has shown that he can produce at safety. He can replace Cam Bynum. The start that Metellus got this season against Detroit with Harrison Smith out, 11 tackles, 2 pass deflections, and 1 interception. Cam Bynum can challenge Chandon Sullivan for the slot corner position. Danielle Hunter goes from outside linebacker to defensive line. DJ Wonnum or Patrick Jones II, they replace Danielle Hunter at outside linebacker. You can make all of these moves in-house without having to sacrifice anything in a trade for a player from the outside. If you decide to go the trade route anyway, Darren Payne from the Washington Commanders, currently on the 5th-year option before he hits the market next offseason. Now, as a defensive lineman so far this year, 3.5 sacks, 5 TFLs, 3 pass deflections, 10 quarterback hits in 7 games. He's a disruptor. He would add enormous value in the pass rushing department. Now, he's had trade rumors involving him going back to this summer. To me, if you're going to make a trade for a defensive player, this is the one to make. On offense, it's pretty straightforward. Wide receiver and tight end. As far as the tight end position goes, I've talked about Mike Gesicki plenty. He's the only player at that position that I'm interested in via trade. And at wide receiver, 2 players that immediately come to mind. Elijah Moore, once out of New York, underutilized with the Jets so far, 16 catches, 203 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2nd round pick. The shaky quarterback situation has no doubt had an impact on his production. Talented player. He would be a legit wide receiver too on this Vikings team. 2nd-year player in a rookie contract. On the surface, it makes sense. The other player that I'm looking at receiver-wise, Jerry Jeudy of the Denver Broncos. Like Elijah Moore, Jeudy also on his rookie contract, 1 year remaining after this season. Cap-wise is team-friendly, highly touted out of Alabama. I don't think he's played up to his potential, but he's also had poor quarterback play since being drafted in 2020. Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater, Russell Wilson right now. Bring him to Minnesota. We will properly utilize his talents. Kirk Cousins would easily be the best quarterback he's ever had in his young career. A trade for Jerry Jeudy also makes sense. Now, if it's between Elijah Moore and Jeudy, it's no question. I want Jerry Jeudy. Elijah Moore requested a trade while at the time the Jets were 4-2. They're 5-2 now. Right now they're winning. But evidently that doesn't matter to him. Elijah Moore, he would rather ball out on a losing team. Who's to say if he comes to Minnesota and he doesn't get 10 targets a game, especially with Adam Thielen, it's not like he's all of a sudden not going to exist, even as the wide receiver 3. If he's not getting 10 targets a game, but we're still winning, who's to say he won't be pissed off in Minnesota as well? The idea of Elijah Moore is nice, a rookie contract, but he's a selfish player and we don't need that. Whereas Jeudy, if he is pissed, which I have no doubt that he is, it's because he's not producing and his team sucks. The Broncos are 2-5. It's over in Denver. I think there's less risk trading for him because if he's in a better situation, Minnesota is certainly that. Even if the numbers don't pop off, he's still going to be in a position to make a big time impact and you're winning. If you're going to make a trade on defense, Darren Payne. If it's going to be on offense, Jerry Jeudy or Mike Gesicki. Ultimately, I don't see Kwesi Adofo-Mensah making a move by the trade deadline. I get the sense from him that he would rather play it safe. But if all of a sudden we see players taking contract restructures, we're back in business. Comments time. Open trunks, and Bakhtiari is donezo. Yeah, I feel bad for the guy. He's basically been recovering David Bakhtiari for almost 2 years. He's missed 3 out of the first 7 games for Green Bay so far. I think he needs to retire, and it sucks because when healthy, he was one of the best left tackles in the game. Next comment. Kyle Jeter. As Vikings fans, we need to be humble. We haven't won anything yet and we're gloating. Gets us in trouble every year. We still have games against Chicago, Green Bay, and the Lions. We have been fortunate with injuries so far, but that can change in a moment. We also play the Commanders on the 6th. Again, be careful. We are known to collapse. I get where you're coming from, Kyle Jeter. However, to be fair, Whether I'm being humble or arrogant on this YouTube channel or on Score North, it's not going to affect Kirk Cousins' ability to throw the football, or whether Justin Jefferson can catch or not, or whether the defense can perform up to par. It doesn't matter. However, I respect where you're coming from, so allow me to be arrogant for you. I am not worried about the Bears, the Packers, or the Lions the rest of the way. The Vikings will absolutely sweep the NFC North for the season. And I'm certainly not worried about the Washington Commanders. Worst case, the Vikings, they will win this division at 9-8. Last comment, Jay Varga 2. You actually compared Rodgers to Ponder. Love it. Absolutely. In fact, I have an idea for a name change for the Green Bay Packers team. Instead of the Green Bay Packers, the Green Bay Ponders. Just draw Christian Ponder. He'll be the official logo moving forward. Just a bunch of Christian Ponders running around on the football field. It's going to be great.